As Chancellor of Edinburgh Napier University, David Eustace may be seen as just the guy who dresses in bright colours and hands you your long-awaited diploma. But in a previous life, David Eustace has been a prison officer and a mature student himself, before he picked up the camera and travelled the world. We visited his home to talk to him about his life, his work, and what he thinks about the current state of education.
But there wasn't one thing that made me think, oh, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I knew I didn't want to work in a prison for the rest of my life. And photography sort of found me, it was a hobby that I started taking further. And it just grew, and you know, I've always loved, since that day, taking photographs. I find it interesting. But the photography for me has almost been, I don't know what you would call it, a vehicle that allows me to do other things that I like to do. So I want to travel, so hey, I like meeting people, so hey, I've got a camera. You know, I can do it that way. But there was not a eureka moment, you know. But this is what I call the print room, for obvious reasons. Saying all that, it's not so much the photograph for me. This was a project I had made here, this one. And it's on a graveyard in Paris, and it was exactly a year ago I made it, and it's not about a graveyard, it's about friendship. I've had a really diverse life, but the common links through it are people. I've been very fortunate. I've only really met a lot of really good people. I saw an old assistant, Chris Blott, Alfred Stieglitz, James Craig Annan. That's my portrait of Eve Arnold, and that's from Eve Arnold. That was a lovely story. I came quite pally with Eve Arnold, and she told me a story one time about Marlon when they were working on this movie in the desert. And one day, Marlon came in from the movie, working on set. It was like 100 and whatever it is degrees in the Nevada desert. It was roasting, and she sits down in the caravan, and she's exhausted, me lying back, and Eve started photographing her. And Marilyn Monroe said to Eve, "Don't photograph me, I want to look beautiful." And Eve said, "David, I told her she was beautiful. I was making her interesting." You know, celebrity to me is a word that I really don't like, because it takes away so much from some very talented people. And it also gives credibility to people who have really done know that much. Some of the major people I've been fortunate to work with, a lot of them never, you know, fame and wealth was a byproduct of what their passion was. They found something they were passionate about. Paul McCartney, Sophia Loren, Sir John Mills, Jamie Oliver, a whole bunch of them, they found something they actually loved. And doing what they loved, all these other things came with it. The fame, the money, blah, blah, blah. They never set out to be famous and wealthy on what will I do to become famous and wealthy. They actually found something that they really loved. Yeah. And it's almost like nowadays we try and put you know, I want to be famous, I want to be wealthy, how do I do it? But I do believe in education, and I think there's massive faults in education at the moment we need to address. Faults, I think there's a general overall pressure put on society. I remember seeing it the first time a few years ago in the States, and it became more about paying to pass. And so many kids I saw in the US that they were noted that they were failing, and that meant they weren't succeeding. And I think that's completely wrong. I think university should be there to get your mind really working, to find out who you are, to get you to think, to inspire you. And likewise, teachers, we've got to support. You know, you don't stop. If your love is a scientist, hopefully you don't stop having a love for science the day you go to teaching. And what's the worst that happens? Say you don't pass, so what? If you try, then you succeeded. If you don't try, then you're kidding yourself. You've just got to try, you know what I mean? And you might learn, you might go down one road and go, hey, you know what, I learned something and that takes me down another road, you know? So I think there's elements within education that are now, and I can understand why, are very business-minded. And with the greatest respect, there's an awful lot of people making these decisions who have never ran businesses, you know? And they do it with the best intent. But I think the essence of education is take someone and try and get them to find something that they're really passionate about and that they really want to go for it. And acceptance that you will make mistakes, you'll screw up things. We've all done that. That's called normal, you know.